Greetings. You guys ready? Let's go.
The truth set you free.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome. Make sure you smash that like.
Universal deceit.
I'm going to try that again.
Telling the truth is a revolutionary act.
Make sure you smash that like button as you're jumping in. Welcome to another Mafia Monday. We're changing up the time. It's going to be doing a little earlier. Thank you so much for joining me. Share this out. Let people know we've changed it up. And let's go. Marilyn, Jack, and Sam. I wrote this. Come on. All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. From the pineapple to the Big Apple, from Maine to Spain. Forget about it. Fuck out of here. Welcome to another edition of Mafia Mondays, ladies and gentlemen. Boom. There it is. I got to tell you, my skill in building the thumbnail, okay? Let's discuss my improved talents from when I started with the thumbnail. This is advanced class now. You've got your colors, you've got your balance. I am now a professional. It's official. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Mafia Monday. How you doing? I know I said I was going to cook this week, but, you know, I'm starting out a little earlier today, so we're going to have some kind of meatballs or pizza or something next week. So if you are snacking on something, let me know, because I love when people come into Mafia Mondays like a sandwich, maybe a cappuccino. I have a little espresso coffee here, which is in my Apex Legends mug. Hope everybody is enjoying their day today. Always great to kick off a week with Mafia Monday. Hello, Ireland, England, Wales. From the pineapple to the Big Apple, from Maine to Spain. That's why I say it, because people here from all over the place. And, you know, thank you so much for my supporters coming here. Obviously, this is a intelligent crowd. I do appreciate it. So share it out. Hit that like button. We'll break this algorithm. I ain't tripping. We're going to get right into it. I'm going to show you how this is done today, kids. So we're going to get into... Now, I want to keep in mind, I want you to keep in mind that these accounts, all right, are based upon Chuck Giancana's accounts. That is Sam Giancana's son. So this is where we're getting the research. We're getting it from the apple off the tree and a lot of people around it. So let's go. First thing we're going to talk about, okay, Marilyn Monroe, okay? Let me introduce you to alleged CIA asset. Let's go.
Marilyn Monroe rose through the ranks of Hollywood stardom with her stunning looks and charismatic personality. However, her looks weren't her only asset. Monroe had been aided by the mob via their Hollywood dealmaker and emissary, Johnny Handsome Johnny Roselli. It wasn't long until Monroe met Giancana. The front boss of Chicago had a thing for buxom blondes, and Giancana would bed the Hollywood star on many occasions. However, Giancana wasn't the only powerful man that Monroe set her sights on. She also had a relationship with John F. Kennedy. It turned out that Monroe was...
Now, there are a lot of stories about Marilyn's relationships with different heads of state, how she would placate our enemies. She was one of the ones that they sent. She was the honeypot. All right. She was the big prize, allegedly. All right. Here we go. As it's been
quite
reported.
unstable and suffered from bipolar. Sensing there could be a scandal on the horizon, Kennedy decided to cut ties with her. After the president decided to break up their relationship, his brother thought he'd double-check if Monroe was a liability and started dating her.
Double check if she was a liability. As in, what?
After a short
Denise,
time,
how are
he
you?
also came to the same conclusion. It was this and career issues that led up to Monroe's untimely death. Marilyn Monroe made the most of her looks on the big screen, but dark forces loomed, and they would also be
Dark
used for
forces.
more sinister purposes. She was called on by the CIA to compromise world leaders far away from Asia to the Middle East, so they would go along with their plans.
Wait a second. That would suggest that she was somehow an intelligent asset for the United States government. Wait a second. That doesn't happen with Hollywood, does it? Oh, rubbish. Rubbish. Doesn't happen. Never happened, right? Who could prove it? Can you prove it? Yes.
One such leader was President Sukarno of Indonesia. Shortly prior to her death, Monroe was in a deep depression. Once Robert had broken up with her, she started saying things like, "I'm going to go public with all the information I have." This would have been a disaster for the CIA and for the Kennedy brothers. The CIA decided to make a swift move and turned to their trusted asset Giancana. The front boss of Chicago planned to do the hit, but frame Robert Kennedy for it. Outfit members bugged Monroe's house and waited for Robert Kennedy to attend after a ranting phone call Monroe made to Bobby. He arrived at the house with a doctor to help calm her down. Some sources say that Bobby was also there to find Monroe's diary and to destroy it. Once he left the house, the hit team, consisting of Needles Gianola, Muggsy Tortorella, and two others, made their move. They taped Monroe's mouth and administered a Nembutal suppository.
Oops.
Once dead, they scattered incriminating evidence around the house.
Fucked up.
It's unclear if the brothers were tipped off about the hit before it happened or after. Whatever it was, they immediately dispatched an FBI cleanup crew to clean the scene to remove any incriminating evidence pointing to Bobby. He also instructed the president's brother-in-law, Peter Lawford, and Fred Autash to oversee the cleanup. Hoover relished the fact that he had his men clean up the scene.
He loved their names.
He now had the goods on the Kennedys.
Okay, so Tap's favorite thing about the Mafia is their names. Okay. Vinny the Chin, I think, is my favorite. Out of all of them is Vinny the Chin. You know? Obviously, there's Fat Tony Salerno, Anthony Quack Quack, Ruggiero, Sammy the Bull. Sammy the Bull, that's pretty good too.
Soon after that, Monroe was discovered dead by her housemaid. The police and ambulance service were called to the scene. It was the end of Marilyn Monroe, and she would take her secrets to the grave. Giancana had successfully eliminated Monroe, but failed in his attempt at framing his nemesis, Bobby Kennedy.
Now we're going to start talking about these connections between them and the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Let's go. Lyndon Johnson had very deep connections with the mob as well. but that's what it is.
After the assassination of the president, it was business as usual for the outfit. The harassment from Robert F. Kennedy had now subsided. He knew he didn't have the resources or the power to pursue his brother's killers. However, the FBI hadn't finished with Giancana just yet. He was called before a grand jury on June 1st, 1965, but remained silent despite being granted immunity, which resulted in his jailing for contempt for a year. Shortly after his release, he went to visit his brother Chuck. Giancana sat down and had dinner with the family and enjoyed their company. It was nice to be back.
I think the son is
Shortly
named Chuck
after
too,
dinner,
but it
Giancana
could
and
be his
Chuck
brother
retired to the
that
lounge.
they are referring to. I seem to remember Chuck or Charlie, so like one of his sons. But I guess it could also be his brother. Maybe he named him after his brother. When you get into Italian families, you're going to see a lot of the same names. So I guess I will just double check if it was his son or his brother. Does it really matter? I mean, seriously, it was Chuck. Okay. Jesus.
Chuck could tell his brother had important news. After a brief moment, the silence was broken. I'm leaving for Mexico. There's too much heat here, and I need some time away. It will be good. I'm going to leave Teets Battaglia in charge over here. He'll make sure things run smoothly while I'm away. Chuck was shocked. The only long stretches of time his brother had been away was when he was in prison. He was sad to hear the news, but knew it was probably for the best. Chuck sensed Giancana had something else to say, and after a long silence, Giancana spoke, but this time in a very dark tone. We took care of Kennedy together, said Giancana.
Okay.
We meaning the mob and the CIA. A million questions entered Chuck's head. The what and the how. He already knew the why. For the next hour, Giancana began to spill all his darkest secrets about the Kennedy hit. Chuck knew that this was information that a man shouldn't know if he wanted a long, healthy life. But something inside him wanted to know every detail of the event. Giancana was happy to oblige. Chuck already knew that Jack Ruby belonged to Chicago. He was Mooney's man in Dallas, running strip joints, gambling dens, and
Yeah, Judy. In fact, Facebook is down for those that watch regularly on Facebook. I've had enough of Facebook. Okay, I have had an ass full of Facebook already. I've been on there with this thing. I've been on there for like 20 minutes. It's my smallest platform that I have, and really, you know, people have already like reported my posts on there because I say what is on my mind. I do not threaten, cajole. Well, maybe I cajole a little bit, but I'm just cajoling around. I roast people. Okay, it's a roast. Nobody means any harm. Nobody wants to harm or hurt anybody. It just doesn't work like that in a roast. It's a roast. Okay, I'm roasting people because I believe a certain thing. All right. And if those people don't want to respond, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Like, people just spend a lot of their time, you know, reporting people on stuff. I don't care. Okay. Y'all ain't invited, you know, those people, those trolls, they're not invited to my pool parties. Okay. You guys are. How about that? How about it? Yeah, that's a good idea, Michelle. I'm thinking of doing a little of the old delete ski. I'm certainly not going to be streaming on there anymore. So for anybody here who does listen to me on or view on Facebook, please turn on your notifications on YouTube and Twitch and Twitter, because I'm able to stream there, and I don't really get a lot of negative feedback as much as I get on Facebook, because Facebook, you know, in my opinion, is a little bit of the garbaggio. Okay. And I didn't want to go on it, but I did. And now I don't want to be on there anymore. Anyway, Mafia Monday.
narcotics for the mob.
Sorry.
He was also running guns for the CIA.
That was 3 minutes. None of us can get back. I
Giancana said that
apologize.
the plot to eliminate Kennedy went right to the top of the CIA. He claimed that some of its former and present leaders were involved, as well as a handful of fanatical right-wing Texans, along with Lyndon Johnson. Many different cities were considered for the assassination: Miami, Chicago, Los Angeles, but they finally settled
Well,
on
Judy,
Dallas.
enjoy yourself here. All right?
Giancana said that
Forget
both
about it. Don't worry
Richard
about
Nixon and Lyndon Johnson knew about the plot.
Look, it's Mafia Monday. I'm serving red wine over there. Okay. Tap. Tiger. Let's get her some wine. And right over there, you're going to see a nice plate of sausage and peppers and some meats and some bread. And the guy who's limping around over there, well, we had a little problem with him last week. So that's why he's limping. But he will get you a sandwich and a drink.
A meeting had been conducted before and after the event with both men.
Everybody gets a glass.
The politicians and the CIA made it real simple.
I prefer
We'd
Irish
each
whiskey.
provide men for the hit.
Red wine.
I'd
too.
oversee the outfit side of things and throw in Jack Ruby with some extra backup, and the CIA provided their guys.
Now, what we're putting together here is you're seeing on this, the day of this event, whatever one wants to call it, coordinated, assassinated, blah, 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 blah. There were like 8 teams out there trying to get this guy. I don't see any way he could have gotten out of this. You know? Yeah, I'm not much of a drinker myself. I would probably have a little Pellegrino or something. I drink a lot of coffee. But anyway, I digress. What you see here is a coordination of so many different organizations that needed to stop this guy. And Sam Giancana, well, you're going to find out some of his ties with our government.
The planning involved some top people in the Dallas police force, and the Dallas mayor Earl Cabell was the brother of former CIA Deputy Director Charles Cabell.
Oh, really?
They made sure that the security detail around Kennedy's car was loose down there,
Very
Giancana
loose.
explained to Chuck. Chuck later learned through the outfit grapevine that top-notch marksmen had been recruited for the job. 2 of Marcelo's men and 2 of Santo Traficante's
That's 4
Cuban
guys.
exile friends. It was rumored that one of them was a former Havana vice cop.
Okay, so we got 4 guys out there so far. Okay, so far. Then you have, well, we're going to count it up.
mobster, and the other, a radical-turned-corrupt U.S. Customs official. From Chicago, Giancana brought in Chucky Nicoletti, Richard
5,
Kane, and
6.
Milwaukee Phil.
7.
Giancana said that it was both Kane and Nicoletti that were the actual gunmen for the hit,
That's
being
7.
placed on opposite ends of the book depository.
Okay, that's 7 guys. You got Lee Harvey Oswald in there, allegedly, which, okay, allegedly Patsy, blah, blah, blah. Got to be real careful what I say on the YouTube, but you can draw your own conclusions. Okay. So, exactly, Joe. Just chill with us and enjoy yourself. Everybody get a snack. Some of this information, as in, some of these connections directly with the brother of the head of the Dallas Police Department being related to one of the, someone in the CIA, their command, and everything about what they did that day. This guy's not getting out. He was driving into an absolute kill box. There was no way out of this for him. And it's very sad. It's very sad.
He asserted that it was Kane and not Oswald who had actually fired from the infamous 6th-floor window of the building.
But this is the real deal of what
During the
happened.
operation, the upper echelon of the CIA sequestered themselves in a hotel with electronic communications equipment to oversee the whole operation. With the aid of walkie-talkies, the shooters were able
They
to
were watching
secure
it
their
live the whole
firing
time.
positions and had a location of Oswald at all times. Giancana's backup, Milwaukee Phil, was to handle any last-minute interference with the shooters.
Gonna Cry 96 Tears says, I'm amazed Jackie wasn't hit. I'm not. I'm not. She was, I believe, and it has been reported, that as many of those hitters that were out there, as many shooters that were out there, that there are some people, and I've seen some footage and some angles, and, you know, look, really so hard to see anything, right? However, when you look at some of the footage, looks like she might have allegedly been involved in a little bit of the thing. You know what I'm saying? Because think of it. You've got the Kennedys, this elite Illuminati family, basically brought about their wealth through bootlegging through Joe, right? Allegedly and reportedly and historically speaking. They come from a family of criminals, okay? Now, a lot of people are exalting a lot of the things to do with JFK Jr. or blah, 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 blah. You know, come on, people. They were balls deep in the mafia from the day they were born. Are you kidding me? Come on now. Of course, this is what happened. Allegedly.
Officers Tippit and White were
Tippit.
also involved in the plot. Their job was to murder
There's
Oswald
10.
after they...
11 with Oswald. That's 11 people now. Wait, 7, 8, 9, 10. Actually, you know what? I lost count. I think we might be up to a dozen, between a dozen and 15, actually, because I think I recounted a couple people, but there's the 7, and then there's the 7, 8, 9, 10. Look at this. Look how many people were involved.
hid under the guise
cops,
of self-defense.
The cops, the
Things
chief.
didn't go to plan, and Tippit wavered, Giancana said, allowing Oswald to escape, and White had been forced to kill his partner.
That's what I mean. She's changing teams. The Onassis, another Illuminati elitist group and family, was right there to comfort her. I mean, look at this. The cops. I think that there are some angles and some arguments, if you look, and you can go search this, that she actually tapped that last round. Okay.
Probably the only screw-up in the whole goddamn thing, Giancana told
But I've
Chuck.
also seen footage that could possibly be the driver turning around or holding it over his shoulder. Like, look, if someone tells you something that you're going to see ahead of time, you're probably going to see that. So it's hard to gauge without that kind of psychological influence on your critical thinking. It's an Achilles heel that we all have in our mind. You have it, I have it. Mine's just perhaps a little bit stronger because of my cynicism.
The involvement of Ruby in Oswald's elimination was not an act of patriotism by a two-bit Chicago racketeer, but an act of fixing an operation that hadn't entirely gone to plan. Giancana decided to use Ruby in the operation because he had proven himself to be a reliable asset with his involvement with the failed Bay of Pigs invasion on Cuba.
Okay, so also what you could look up is when you talk about the Bay of Pigs, Cuba, you're talking about Fidel Castro and how Sam Giancana, who had casinos down there with the previous rule, and then Castro, and there's a whole period of time in the 60s with Bay of Pigs, and you just have to do your own research on that. But what you see here is another part of our history where the mob was involved. They approached Sam Giancana to assassinate Castro from reports that I've seen.
Ruby had actually come into his own whilst working with intelligence officers, making friends with Oswald and Dave Ferry. Ruby went as far as giving CIA pilot Dave Ferry a job at the Carousel Club. Another reason Giancana selected Ruby for the job was that he had an unusually good relationship with Dallas cops.
And the Dallas cops were a very, very important part of this. By the way, if you just got in here, if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, hit those notification bells. And the best way to support this page is please hit that like button if you like it. And if you don't like it, hit the don't like button. That's okay too. You know, I don't need, if you don't like it, tell me in the comments. I'm happy to, debate or destroy whatever I got to do. All right. I'm happy to do it.
During his time in Dallas,
But thanks
he
for being
built
here,
up a
guys.
good
Share this
relationship
out.
with police officers and was on first-name terms with most of them. This helped overcome the situation with the local cop on the street after the hit went down. Ruby was the natural choice to get into the Dallas police
It really does,
precinct
right,
to
Judy?
silence Oswald, who was on the verge of spilling the beans to the world. The word patsy had already been muttered by Oswald. Giancana and the CIA needed action taken, and quickly. Having Oswald alive and in custody put us on the spot real good, Giancana said, chuckling. Chuck, however, failed to see the funny side and had the sudden urge of taking a piss out of his ass, wondering if he had enough toilet paper for the job. Chuck distracted himself by subconsciously urging Mooney on to spill the rest of the story. The look on Oswald's face when he saw Ruby should have tipped the cops off. Shit, I heard that they were even queer for each other. Oswald knew what the story was when he saw Ruby coming at him, Giancana said. Chuck knew that a man like Ruby would rather prefer to die in...
Look at the cop right there. See that cop with the hat on the left? Does it look to you like they know this is going to happen? Okay. I mean, this... Okay.
prison for murder than to die on the streets. The memory of Action Jackson was all too fresh.
I do not know who Kim G from Life Force Global is, but put it in the comments and I'll look into it.
Oswald had ties to the New Orleans mob since he was born. His uncle was a Marcello lieutenant in the old days. As a young man, Oswald's life revolved around missions for the CIA, meeting contacts and involvement with the New Orleans mob.
See, these
He
were
was
all
all
assets.
too familiar with the likes of Guy Bannister, David Ferry, and George de Mohrenschildt.
Wow.
De Mohrenschildt helped Giancana make lucrative investments in oil and introduced him to an array of wealthy Texan businessmen. Giancana told Chuck that each man involved in the plot to kill Kennedy received $50,000. He personally received millions of dollars of oil money through wealthy right-wing financiers. Giancana confided in Chuck that he'd sent Johnny Roselli down to New Orleans to check Oswald out and see if he was right for the role of Patsy. Whilst down there, Roselli met Guy Bannister. They both agreed that Oswald was perfect for the part. The CIA had already laid the groundwork to...
This was cast. Okay? This was cast. Do you understand? These people were chosen, put in a position to play a part, to play a role. They were cast.
Make Oswald look like a commie. He looked like a commie, acted like a commie, and smelt like a commie. So it would be no problem to convince people he was a commie, Giancana told Chuck. And the rest is history. We didn't even have to worry about J. Edgar Hoover. He hated the Kennedys as much as anyone else, and he wasn't about to help Bobby find his brother's killers. He buried his head in the sand and covered up anything and everything his agents found. If anybody knew too much and the CIA found out about it, they would take care of the problem.
So now do you know why every single document, even though it has been allegedly declassified, what you have here is it's a script, right? And you get to read what they want you to read, essentially.
Giancana gave his brother
All
a
the black
stare,
marker
a silent and
scrape outs.
subconscious warning
Yes, thank you, Michelle.
not to utter a word of this to anyone. Otherwise, a sudden bout of diarrhea whilst sitting on his living room couch would be the last of his problems. Giancana knew none of it would come back to him. He told Chuck that he was well insulated. He delegated to trusted lieutenants and left the fine details down to them. The hit in Dallas was just like any other operation. We'd overthrown governments in other countries. The only difference was that this time it was done in our own backyard. A million thoughts rushed through Chuck's head as Giancana got up to leave.
By the way, I cannot confirm that. I put this up, but I can't confirm this. Okay. I know things are down and running slowly, but I have no proof, evidence, or otherwise, and I don't want to hear, but I have to sort of say that, okay? Because I don't know if this is in fact true. Okay. I just have to put that out there. No offense. It could very well be. I just haven't, I've been here. I've been, having some Mafia Monday time. I need a little break from all
Chuck
that.
didn't know it then.
That's why I'm not on
this would
Facebook
be
today.
the last time he would see his brother
And,
alive.
let me tell you something. F the Facebook, because I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not streaming on there anymore. Okay.
Before leaving, Giancana excused himself for the bathroom. Chuck's mind was racing with all the information Giancana had blurted out. It seemed like it had only been a few minutes when his brother reappeared. He'd actually been in the bathroom for 45 minutes. He handed Chuck an envelope. "I guess I won't be needing this anymore. Open it after I'm gone," Giancana said, smiling. Chuck knew what he meant, and he felt a sudden sadness in his heart. Chuck took the envelope and hugged his brother. After the farewell had been said, Giancana slipped away and out of Chuck's life forever. Giancana had agreed with the bosses, Accardo and Ricca, that his best course of action was to leave Chicago and let the heat die down. The constant harassment of the FBI had taken its toll, and Giancana needed a change of scenery. He headed to Mexico with his trusted lieutenant and CIA man Richard Kane. Before leaving, Giancana told Kane he wanted to find the biggest goddamn sombrero he could find. "I want to make waves out there, you hear?" Giancana told his trusted right-hand man. He set up a home in San Cristobal, an enclave in Mexico City. There he ran operations predominantly in gambling ventures in Iran, Beirut, and the Caribbean. As the 1960s gave way to the 70s, business thrived and the aging Giancana was making the most of his time out from Chicago. Trouble was brewing, however. Learning that Giancana was making vast amounts of money, the hand of the outfit reached out for their cut. Accardo demanded a piece of Giancana's action, but the cocky old gangster refused, claiming that his businesses had nothing to do with the outfit. Giancana knew that the outfit wouldn't take this lightly. He once said the only time a man has to watch out is when he becomes frail or he lets his guard down. Giancana would often spend hours watching the surrounding hills from the top floor of his San Cristobal mansion for any signs of his enemies. Richard Kane made frequent trips to and from Mexico as Sam Giancana's courier and financial advisor. Kane became a key figure in Giancana's money skimming from casinos around the world. During this time, conspiring to control the city's illegal gambling operations, he began working as an FBI informant for Agent William F. Romer, allegedly muscling out his rivals by revealing their operations to federal authorities. On December 20, 1973, Kane once again found himself in Chicago, This time, his remit was to get a sandwich for Giancana, as he missed good old Italian bread and cheese from the local delis. For Giancana, it was
Hey,
well
no
worth
worries, you're always
sending his
welcome.
lieutenant 2,000 miles north to get him one. Tragically, during his visit to Chicago,
Yeah, that's not that's Judy, that's just content that I don't really kind of like get into anymore. I'm just kind of like I kind of want to do my own thing. Don't really like to, I'm kind of moving into different pastures of content here. So I just leave that stuff to whoever wants to cover it. I don't really take it that seriously anymore. It's not really important to me. I've already done my coverage on it, and I don't like to recycle the same thing over and over again. And I know my name rhymes with one trick pony, but I'm not one. And Will's great, and I support Will in whatever he does.
Kane was
But all the things that are covered in that thing are just not for me. Thanks, though.
killed by masked gunmen in Rosa's sandwich shop.
Don't get
Witnesses
me fucking
reported
started.
that no more than 15 minutes before the attack, Kane had been talking with 4 other men.
I think, Denise, because I am a very polite person to people in general. I'm very friendly and generous, and I really like for people to feel good. I don't ever like to, berate people. So when we come in on here, it's like I think I've also said, like everybody just kind of like just enjoy
Who were
yourselves.
not
Be
present when
yourselves.
the gunmen arrived. 2 of these 4 men were reported to have left using a back door. At the time of the gunmen's
No.
arrival,
Don't worry about it.
Kane was seen talking with an unidentified woman in black. The gunman carried a
It's okay for opinions. I want people to be able to put anything they want here. I just have to say that because of YouTube. Okay, so Michelle, just understand that. I just have to say that stuff because of YouTube. You guys can say whatever you want in here. Okay, you could say whatever you want. This is an open forum in place. I don't restrict anybody. All I'm trying to do is trying to just cover some bases because it's very sensitive with the YouTubes, And I love you guys being here and leaving your comments. That's just me covering my ass a little bit. That's got nothing to do with you guys.
shotgun, a pistol, and a 2-way radio that they used
Some
to
of the admin
communicate with an
issues.
outside lookout. They ordered the shop's
Forget
staff
about
and
it.
patrons, including Kane, against the wall, but did not speak directly to Kane. They asked several of them if they had any money and asked, "Who's got the package?" Kane was approached, pulled slightly away from the wall, and shot in the head with the shotgun. As he fell, the second gunman also shot him in the head. Kane's assailants reportedly removed an item from one of his pockets.
Oh, by the way, I wasn't referring to Will as a one-trick pony, by the way. Will's great. I'm saying that there's he covers a lot of different stuff. I'm saying that there's, a lot of people in that sort of area that are not as thorough and credible as Will.
Before fleeing. The unidentified woman apparently left at the same time as the gunman.
Thanks, Jane.
It was the end of Richard Kane. A possible motive for Kane being targeted was because during the early 1970s,
I know.
he became
I
involved
appreciate
in a burglary ring masterminded by outfit capo Marshal Caifano.
Look, you don't need to tell me that, but if you want to make me a plaque and send it to me, that would be great too. You guys are awesome. See, you guys understand me. Like a lot of people just don't get me. What could I say?
Caifano had learned of
Their
Kane's
loss.
informant status and had received permission from Accardo to murder Kane. Caifano was reported to have been in Rosa's sandwich shop only 2 hours before Kane's murder. After Kane's death, the Chicago Tribune reported that Kane had once bugged Caifano's bedroom. Kane was also reported to have been arguing violently with senior outfit figure Gus Alex shortly before being killed over his plans to organize 12-day gambling cruises for Chicago high rollers off the Florida coast. Several Chicago Tribune articles printed in the days after Kane's death reported speculation by investigators that Kane's murder was in retaliation for the murder of Sam DiStefano the previous April.
Oh,
The manner of Kane's execution, however,
can I just ask you a question? What's with the broom? Like, what was the broom? Right? What is with the broom? And what is that jug? Is that a? That's not a jug of wine up on the desk. What else is on this desk here? Is this a desk? What are these drawers in a desk? What is going on in this place?
didn't have the hallmarks of a typical mob hit. It smelled more like the CIA. Their possible motive was that Kane knew too much about too many things, and it was a strong enough motive to warrant his execution.
That's a good question. There are a lot, and I could cover something like that later. But when you're talking about the Vatican and the Jesuits and Freemasonry and going back to seriously, the Druids and, Stonehenge stuff, it really just all of it just kind of goes back to that, my friends. Forget all the this, that, and the little symbols and all the symbolism that you see. Okay, this is all rooted in Druidism, from what I can gather. I'm sure people want to argue with me about it. That's fine, but you tell me then where. And the mob, they're very similar. It's rituals. It's a lot of rituals. It's a lot of secrecy. Things like that. It does go very deep indeed.
Giancana's pleasant
Way
life in the
back,
sun
like car
came
seats.
to a sudden end in 1974 when the Mexican police entered Giancana's house in Cuernavaca early one morning, pulled him out of bed, and drove him across the border where federal agents were waiting for him with a subpoena. Before his scheduled attendance
like, "I was
to a
just going to
federal
get some
grand
tacos.
jury in
What's the problem?"
Chicago regarding the links to the CIA plot to kill Castro, Giancana resettled in his Oak Park house. He was given immunity by the grand jury. On the night of June 19th, 1975, a week after undergoing surgery in Houston, a welcome home party was held for Giancana. His daughters and two outfit friends, Dominic Butch Blassie and Chucky English, attended. As Giancana's guests were leaving, he bid a final farewell. A short while later, Giancana's daughter Antoinette Giancana returned to the house because she'd forgotten her purse. On leaving the house in her car, she saw Blassie drive by her in the direction of Giancana's house.
Oops.
The police security detail had been removed from the Giancana's residence. The door was open to Blassie, and Giancana then began to cook a meal for his visitor.
Do you see where this is going? Anyone? He's cooking for the guy. The guy comes to his house. Security's not there.
A snack of sausages and peppers.
Oh, goddamn, that looks good, doesn't it? That's a little sausage, peppers. You take that, maybe you put them, but maybe you cut it open, maybe you don't. All right, it depends. But you put that on a nice piece of bread. You take the peppers and the onions and you throw it on top of there. Then you throw a bunch of that juice with some of the Calabrian peppers on there, make it nice and spicy. Maybe you're the kind of fella or gal who wants a little sauce, perhaps a little cheese. Yes, exactly. Man, that looks good.
It was assumed that the meal was made for Blassie, as the sausages and peppers were too rich for Giancana's stomach. Shortly after, Giancana was shot in the head from behind and he fell to the floor. 6 more shots were emptied into Giancana's lifeless body. Blassie then slipped away into the night.
But Blassie took with him some of the sausage and the peppers after he killed Sam Giancana, allegedly. Listen, I wouldn't say overindulgence. I would just say you need to fuel up, and then you got to get ready for the next one. You know what I mean? I'm talking about.
It was the end of the 69-year-old Giancana.
And that
the
is
one-time front man and celebrity gangster of the Windy City was gone.
The head of the outfit.
The murder weapon was found ditched on the route between the murder scene and Blasé's home.
There is the alleged murder weapon of Sam Giancana. That's what they call it. Look at that. It's all messed up, busted up.
There was speculation that Tony Spilotro was the assassin, as he lived in close proximity to Giancana. The rumor came from Butch Blassie, who explained to...
Yes, this Spilotro was the character played by Joe Pesci in the movie Casino. Very violent individual. Also loved sausage, peppers, and onions.
Agent Bill Romer that Giancana had been sleeping with his wife.
Why not?
Within days of Giancana's murder, Michael J. Corbett, the police chief of Willow Springs, Illinois...
Now, let's just go back.
That Giancana had been...
A little bit.
The rumor came from Butch Blassie, who explained to Agent Bill Romer that Giancana had been sleeping with his wife.
That's a no-no.
Within...
You never, ever, ever sleep with another maid guy's wife. Doesn't matter who you are. Okay? Doesn't matter who you are. It's off the books. Can't do it.
Days of Giancana's murder, Michael J. Corbett, the police chief of Willow Springs, Illinois, was told by Chicago outfit capo Salvatore Bastone that Sam sure loved this little guy in Oak Park, Tony Spilotro. Yeah, he was fucking crazy about him. Sam put Tony on the fucking map, though he was gonna be a big fucking man someday. Did you know that after Marshall Caifano got out of Vegas, it was Sam who wanted Tony Spilotro out there? Even lately, with all the problems with the skim and all, Sam always stood behind the guy. Tony was over to Sam's house all the time. He lived right by there. Did you know Tony even figured out a way where he could get in through the back of Sam's place without anybody seeing him? He'd go through other people's yards, go over fences, all sorts of shit. When Corbett asked for the reason for the murder, Bastone quipped, "There's never just one reason for shit like what happened to Sam. There's a million of them. Let's just say that Sam should have remembered what happened to Bugsy Siegel." Just over a year later, on August 9th, 1976, Giancana ally and friend Johnny Handsome Johnny Roselli's decomposing body was found by a fisherman in a 55-gallon steel fuel drum floating in Dumbfoundling Bay near Miami, Florida. He died of asphyxiation. Federal investigation...
Sounds like that steel drum didn't help in the water. I mean... I don't think there's much air in those.
Later suggested he may have been killed by Chicago mobsters for keeping an unfair share of the mob's gambling interest in Las Vegas.
So this is what it all comes down to, ladies and gentlemen. The almighty dollar dollar. And that is part 2 of JFK. The mob. And Sam Giancana, we're going to go into it. Next week, we're going to get a little deeper into Sam Giancana and his involvement with Cuba and the Bay of Pigs and how that was handled with Bobby Kennedy. And, the Hopper and Walken scene in True Romance is very good. Look, you guys, if you want to support the page, all you got to do is hit that like button. Hit the notification bell. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you want to go a little further than that, I got this banner scrolling down here. I got the PayPal and the Cash App. Let's see. Whatever, I take some of my proceeds. I donate it to different causes, including equipment, gear, and stuff around here. So that's just the way we do it. And you are always going to get the very best content, original content here. And I really, really do appreciate you guys being here. So I will see you on the next one. Yeah, like I said, look, liking and sharing, like I said, is the best way. All right. Other than that, I got OnlyFans. A lot of them are, Helen, for sure. So thank you so much for joining me. My name is Tony D. I am your host. This has been another episode of Mafia Monday. So what are we going to do? All right. We're going to see you on the next one. Thank you so much for joining me. Forget about it.
The truth set you free.
All right. Good night, good day, good afternoon, no matter where you are in the world. Thank you for joining me for another episode. Send it. I really appreciate you guys joining me. I could not do it without you. Please share this out. We'll get there.
In an age of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act.
You know, when you knock me down to the bottom of the mountain, you're going to make my legs stronger. But that's how it works on YouTube. See you at the top, honey. I think I'm going to go for a little dip. A little poolside time. We'll take the rest of the day off. And work on my NSA series. Oh my God, I've got some new content, man. You're going to love this. Can't wait to show it to you. See you on the next one. Full send.